Hey guys, in today's video I'm going to be helping you decide what class you should play in Echoes of Angmar's hardcore server. So let's get started. So how I'm choosing my class list here is twofold. The first thing is just intuition based on classes I've played. I don't have a ton of experience endgame, but I do have a lot of experience leveling the classes, and so I think I have a pretty good understanding of what like your first 20 or 30 levels are going to look like on a class, and let's be frank, most of you are going to die under level 30. So this should give you a pretty good idea on what classes are going to be best for this hardcore, what classes might be giving you a little bit more trouble. The second piece of data I'm going off of is a poll posted in the Echoes of Angmar Discord, simply asking the community what class they're going to be playing in hardcore. While this doesn't necessarily define which class is easiest or best, I do assume that the community has a general understanding of what class is going to succeed, and it almost lines up with my own personal preference as well. So let's jump right into it. So the most popular class right now by far is Captain, coming in at 16%. This is 41 votes. This is probably my first choice as well. Captain is going to be great for hardcore, at least in the lower levels. Once again, I don't know endgame, guys, but the first 20 levels or so, the Captain is just really strong. Their shouts, their melee abilities do quite a decent amount of damage. You get a pet pretty early on, which can help mitigate aggro. You can send your pet in to take aggro if it's an accidental pull or something, and you can get out of a lot of funky situations. You also have movement speed buffs. You also have self-healing. You've got quite a lot of buffs, and with this said, I think the Captain is going to be one of the more enjoyable solo classes in a hardcore environment where your sole purpose is to stay alive, right? This isn't about like world first. This isn't about min-maxing. This is about not dying to an accidental 3 spider pull, right? Which can very easily happen in Echoes of Angmar. And the Captain has a lot of tools to get out of stuff like that. So if you're looking for an easy time, if you're looking for maybe your best shot at making it to 20 or 30 or even endgame, I think Captain is a solid choice. All right, coming in next is Minstrel. They're pretty much tied with Captain. So Minstrel and Captain were the two that I was kind of fiddling with as my first slot as well. So I'm going to say Captain and Minstrel are both first. But the next in line is going to be Minstrel. Minstrel, for obvious reasons, you have extremely solid healing. No other class has the healing capabilities of you. Your damage is very mobile. Your damage is actually pretty good in the lower levels. You don't have to worry about the miss, dodge, parry curse that most of the physical DPS has to worry about. So the low level grind on a Minstrel is going to be really nice. If you get into a pickle, you can certainly escape with a lot of mobile heals, a lot of strong heals. You've got some okay crowd control as well. So a Minstrel is a solid choice. The Captain, I would say, is probably a little easier just because you can take more of a hit, and it's probably for newer players. But if you're competent and you're used to playing MMOs, Minstrel I probably would say is probably even stronger than the Captain if you know how to play it correctly. So if you're newer, go Champion. If you're more experienced, go Minstrel. Both of these classes, I think, we'll see many people who actually make it to 50 on these two classes. But, you know, we'll see when that time comes. Up next is the shocking one, Champion. So this is the community voted Champion as their third preferred. I think Champion, for several reasons, I don't necessarily attribute it to its ease of getting to 50. I think Champion is just a fun class. Everybody loves the warrior class, and Champion is pretty much the best AoE damage in the game, and it has really solid single target damage too. So when it comes to just if you accidentally pull 2 mobs of equal level on a Champion, you can easily AoE them down. It's not really a problem. Champion's really fast paced, not a lot of downtime if you're eating food. And you're smart with your pulls, or you're staying above level. Of course, they don't have a lot of escapability, right? You don't have any speed buffs. You're not going to have any self-heals aside from potions. It's going to be, similar if you've played a warrior in Classic. I wouldn't say it's that difficult, but you're still suffering from the same things. You don't really have a lot of gap closers. The damage is okay, but you're going to be missed, parried, and dodged all the time, which in a hardcore environment, if it's you and a spider and you're both at 10% health, it's actually up in the air who the hell's going to win. I know it sounds crazy, but when you miss and get dodged and parried every other attack, spiders can easily kill you. So the Champion, I think, is there just because it's a kind of a cult favorite. It's very strong, and people really like the champion. As far as like getting it to end game, it's going to be a task. I think probably most people are going to pair this with something like a minstrel or a captain. I think a minstrel and champion combo is fucking fantastic. I think a champion and captain combo is also fantastic. If you're doing group stuff, you probably want a champion, and that might be why the numbers are so much higher. But for solo, I wouldn't recommend champion just based on, you're more of a group style class, if you will. Up next, this is what I would rank as my third choice as opposed to champion, is Lore Master. For solo play, I would say Lore Master is another solid choice. Lore Masters get a lot of debuffs, they get a lot of crowd control, which is huge for this game. They get a ton of really solid crowd control. You have 4 pets to choose from that all have different strengths and weaknesses. You have a lot of get out of jail cards with the Lore Master. You even have a few self heals. The Lore Master is kind of a jack of all trades, master of pretty much just crowd control, I would say. Your damage isn't going to be superb, but where you're not dealing with the dodge, miss, parry bullshit, your damage is actually pretty high in the lower levels. So Lore Master is a very solid choice. This is probably what I'm going to be going in hardcore, just because it's a great class. I plan on playing with other people, and just the crowd control is going to get you out of so many predicaments that would otherwise be quite hairy. Keep in mind, hardcore, it's not about trying to kill all the mobs. If you pull too many, you're probably almost always going to be running away. You're never going to risk your character. So the Lore Master has the best chance of pulling too much and getting away safely just based on the crowd control, right? You have so much of it. You have a pet to also soak damage. Just a great overall class, solo or group. It's going to be a great pick. All right, so now we're starting to get into the territory of you're a masochist if you want to play these classes in hardcore. This is obviously personal preference, and I don't have a ton of experience on these classes beyond like level 15. But next up, the community voted Guardian. Guardian's always a popular one, and of course it's the only tank available in the game. We need Guardians, right? We need people leveling Guardians in hardcore, so I'm glad that it is the fourth choice of the community. But Guardian, of course, your damage is really low. You suffer from the parry dodge melee crap, just like every other physical DPS. Only you do way worse damage than the champion. You're gonna take less damage, but you're doing so. The trade-off isn't like good. You're not taking so little damage that your reduced damage is worth it. It's about a 1-to-1 trade. So like a champion might take 3 times more damage than a guardian, but they also do 3 times more damage than a guardian. So it's worth it. You're not spending as much time. The guardian is just a champion underwater. You're just going to be spending a lot of time shield bashing, and you get some decent crowd control, but it's just going to be a slow time. If you pull too many mobs, you're going to have to kind of backpedal away so you get a chance to block. It's going to be a slow grind in a guardian, especially if you're solo. If you're in a group, once again, you can kind of disregard a lot of this stuff because group play is really dynamic in this game. And you're going to need a tank. If you plan on doing any dungeons, somebody has to level a guardian. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So it's a necessary class, but it's one that I would steer away from unless you're just a hardcore tank or you're very versed in Lotro and you're ready to take on the challenge. All right, second to last here, we've got Burglar. I think this is exactly where I would put it. Perhaps I'd put Burglar above Guardian, but this is a tough choice because the Guardian has more survivability than the Burglar. The Burglar's damage is okay. I played a Burglar for quite a while. The damage is pretty good if you know what you're doing and you don't miss. But you don't have a lot of tricks to get away from things, at least early on. You're very squishy if you accidentally pull too many and you just the dice roll isn't there for you and you keep missing and parrying. You could very easily succumb and just end up dying. It's a great class. It's great for group play. Once again, if you're going in a group, you can initiate the group combo rolls there, which are very strong and needed in a lot of dungeons. So the Burglar, it shouldn't be slept on. It's just, if you're looking to get to max level, a Burglar is going to be quite a challenge. Once again, it's all subjective. Some people are going to prove me wrong because they're just great players and they really know the class really well. But coming from, if I'm just coming at it as I want to hop on there and play a little bit of Lotro. I don't recommend the Burglar just because it's going to be a little bit harder. like I said, the champion's going to do way more damage than you. They've got way more AoE than you. You don't have to rely on bleeds and double bleeding and stealth and all of this stuff that moves slowly and getting detected accidentally. All this stuff could really risk your character dying. So I would stay away from the burglar unless, of course, you're going group play or you're just very seasoned. And last but not least, the hunter, and I think this is totally where it deserves to be. Unfortunately, the hunter is in such a bad spot in Lord of the Rings Online, especially Shadows of Angmar. The damage, the single target damage is unbelievable. It's the best in the game, no doubt about it. You're going to be just like three-shotting people. If you crit, it's like a two-shot, maybe even a one-shot. Huge damage, but that's pretty much it. You get nothing else. Your kit is just not set up to be a survival sort of character. You can't do anything while you're moving. You're not as mobile as you think you should be. You've got some melee abilities that do okay damage, but it's certainly not where you want to be. You don't have any AoE. I don't think you have very much AoE at all. It's just not a class you really want to find yourself accidentally pulling 3 mobs on, because you're pretty screwed at that point, unless you catch it soon enough where you can just run away. You do get speed buffs and things like that, so that might move it a little bit higher on the list depending on your, what sort of parameters you're looking for in a class. But I think the hunter deserves to be at the bottom, at least as far as a solo class. Once again, you're going to see hunters get to max level because there's a lot of great players that really understand the class and the game as a whole. But if you're new or you're casual, just trying to hang out and just trying to hit max level, I think statistically speaking, a hunter, you're probably going to die a lot easier on a hunter than the other aforementioned classes. Alright guys, that's my quick overview of all of the classes in Hardcore. I might have gotten some things wrong. Like I said, I'm not a master of this game. This is just based on some experience that I've had with all of the classes, and based on what the community voted that they're going to be playing, tried to match those two together. Anyways, if you like the content, if you want to see more Lord of the Rings Online content, I'm always happy to make it. I just, if I could get a few more subscribers, that would certainly motivate me a little bit more to start pumping the content out. So make sure you guys subscribe and like the video. Anyways, until next time, peace.